Live from the magicalbutter.com studios,
it's the Bubba the Love Spud Show.
I think Bernie's in here. I got to stand up here. Where's Bernie at? Bernie, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Well, thank you for going on our show because you're kind of a big star, like you're kind of a big deal.
Oh, man. I don't know about that.
Last night sold out Ruth Eckerd. I think you sold Ruth Eckerd out.
Yes, 2 nights ago, yes.
And you had the David Cohn and David Wells there,
yeah,
the two Davids.
The two perfect game guys.
They were. You were there for both games.
Yeah, that is right.
Now, is this you up here, Bernie, right here on the screen?
Yeah, that's it, man. It's me.
Is that your apartment in New York? Is that your apartment in New York? Is that like a studio?
I certainly wish it was my apartment.
Yeah. You living in New York, Bernie?
I live in New York. I have a place in Westchester County. And
that's not real. That's kind of like not really living in New York. That's
it is in New York State. No, but all kidding aside, yeah, I chose not to live in the city at the time.
Who would want that? Did you live when you were a player, Bernie? Did you have to live in the city? Is it easier for the guys to live in the city?
No, never. I mean, I guess for some of the guys it was a lot easier to live in the city. You have a lot of high risers and everything was sort of taken care of and an easy commute, easier than most places, in New York, given obviously taking the fact that there's a lot of traffic all the time there. But a lot of guys did live in the city. I remember Posada and Beltran, and Derek had a place there somewhere.
Jeter was in there.
Oh, Derek,
yeah, he was all over that place.
Derek had a mansion right by Bernie's and 3 apartments downtown. And he changed his apartments with his underwear, did he not?
Oh, man.
I say that as an absolute, in a pimp way. I would never say anything about Derek Jeter. He is... he's the man, is he not, Bernie? And I'm not making this about him, but he is the man. Smooth, zillionaire. I don't know if he can turn the Marlins around or not. God bless his little heart.
He is the prime example of how to do it the right way. Playing for us. As long as he did, never really got into any trouble, major trouble in New York. He did everything the right way. He was the captain of the team for the time that he was there, and he was a great example for all the kids and how to do the things the right way as a baseball player.
Bernie Williams in the studio. Bernie, of course, a career-long Yankee, 4-time champion World Series. Born and raised, up clear up until like you're 16. Were you 16 or 17 when you left Puerto Rico?
I was about 16. I was right out of high school when I left Puerto Rico.
Because you were drafted when you were 17, right?
Yeah, I mean,
what's that like, Bernie?
I actually signed as a free agent when I was 17. The draft didn't apply to Puerto Rico and territories outside of the United States at that time.
So, was the scouts just combing Puerto Rico because it was kind of a technicality, so to speak? It was unfound territory. So was there all these agents down there trying to get find the studs of Puerto Rico?
Oh my God, yeah, that is correct. A scout would would come down with maybe like 10 grand or something.
14 or 15 years old, right?
Yeah, that is true. 15, 16, that's where I started to get looked by all these organizations. It was just customary. A guy would come from the United States with about, I don't know, maybe $10,000, $20,000 in their pocket, and they would sign like 20 players for $1,000 each. So they throw everybody out there in spring training.
How would that interaction though, Bernie? Would you be out there playing, ball, and then you're kind of walking home or getting to your car or whatever you're doing, and with your cleats over your shoulder, and this guy goes, "Hey, Bernie, come over here, buddy." How did that go, Bernie? How did it go?
No, well, I actually got recruited out of my basically my little league games. We were playing like Mickey Mantle League, 15, 16-year-olds, and you have the scouts coming in and watching the games, and I had scouts from the Yankees, the Pirates, and the Detroit Tigers at that time, trying to get me to sign, and I decided to play, to put my signature in with the Yankees, and the rest was history after that.
You can't even, between those 3 teams, they'd have to almost inspect your head if you'd picked the Tigers or the Pirates over the Yankees, right? But Bernie done lost his mind.
No. You know what? As a matter of fact, I did not know what I was getting into. So, there were just 3 Major League Baseball teams. I didn't really know too much about the history of the Yankees as a young 15, 16-year-old kid. So to me, it was just great to sign for a Major League Baseball team. It wasn't until I became older that I started to get aware of how important was that opportunity to sign with the Yankees, and how much great things it did for my life after baseball.
So what happens, Bernie, when you're out there as the agent you were, and you don't do the college process like some people do? You're one of those kids that get picked out early. Because a lot of people have to go and go to high school and then go to 4-year college and then get drafted, whatever, and then the struggles of minor league ball. But you obviously are one of those special ones, like there's been so many of them, the Mario Riveras and the guys that got kind of fast track, so to speak. So you go from 15, 16 years old. Do you graduate high school and then do you go right to the farm system?
Went right to the farm system, and actually had to fight my way through the whole system. I mean, you get signed as a free agent technically, and a 17, 18-year-old kid. Foreign to the language, foreign to all the, the American system and all the, everything that entails. Being a kid, in my college years, that was my minor league years.
Right.
That's how I became a man.
When most people were at, Clemson or University of Miami, you're, in AA or something like that, right?
That is correct. Yeah. I just sort of became a man through the minor league system with the Yankee organization.
So your very first spring training, where was the very first place you reported to after you signed? And okay, Bernie, you need to go here. We're going to buy you a ticket to. And where was the very first place you went?
Sarasota, Florida.
Really?
That's right. We played the rookie league there. We used to play games 6 days a week. And we used to call it Sarah Sun. It was 12 o'clock, 12 noon games, and from hot. 12 to 2. And it was hot.
And would literally, Bernie, would you take like that? You see it on TV, like a bus, and you'd bus into another city, and you'd stay at a Fleabag motel, or you'd have to bus overnight to the next city. Like, is it really like that?
Yeah, absolutely. All of that stuff. It depends on the proximity of the teams that you're playing against. You get a bus drive. Some of these other teams in the minor leagues are like 8, 10, 14 hours away, from one city to the next, and you take all these long bus rides. I went through all of that. Yeah.
Now, Bernie, do you know while you're playing, you're knowing like you've got to do your best because the team's got scouts there, and they're going to go to the manager, and if Bernie goes 0 for 4, well, but if Bernie goes 3 for 4, and made a couple diving catches, it gets sent up the line to within the organization, right? Because so you're like on a constant tryout.
Yes, you are in a constant tryout. You're always trying to do your best because you never know who's watching. There's always a report on you. If you're being deemed as a prospect, you get all the news and all the buzz. Everything that you do gets reported and then sent to the different organizations, even the Yankees. If they have an opportunity for you to play, it's great. You get to play with the Yankees. But if not, you become a trading chip to be a part of a trading
or shipped out.
Or chipped out and be a part of another organization. But the fact of the matter is that wherever you end up, you have to do your best because you never know who's watching.
Now, are they analyzing? Are they analyzing like your attitude and your demeanor, and like are they analyzing all that while you're down there?
Everything gets analyzed. Your demeanor, your ability to adjust to overcome adversity, play hurt.
So, Bernie, like if you didn't run out a single at first and you limped it, like Upton used to do for the Rays. Remember, B.J. Upton was the fastest guy in the world, and he would sometimes just take his time. Remember, Madden became unglued one time on that. But, Bernie, let's say that you lazied it over to first. It would get back to the next league. Hey, listen, Bernie didn't try his hardest, right? I mean,
it reflects on your attitude, and that's all, man. You have to obviously have this defaulted level of talent that it's required for all the major league players, but also you need to have the attitude to understand criticism and take constructive criticism.
Do they try you, Bernie? Like, do the old timers that are the guy that's like 28, 29 and he's still in the doubles and he feels like he's kind of gotten screwed over? Are they like trying to mess with you because here you are, this kid that you're obviously on the way up? And they've maybe gone down. Do they mess with the kid like that?
All the time, man.
Like the old timers, right?
Yeah, of course, man. It's cutthroat, man.
And you got to think those old timers in minor league ball, man. They're old timers. They're mad. They're 29. They wish they would have had a shot. They're like, ugh.
Yeah, and there's so many spots. Very little spots, and then they have to be filled. And whoever is the best for the position, that's the one person that they're going to hire.
Bernie Williams, ex-Yankee. Now tonight he's doing the first pitch. Bernie, those people are going to become unglued. They love you. The Yankee people love you, do they not? You're like one of the very few guys that started and stopped his entire career. There's not a lot of them. Is there a number how many like what's the statistic of a major league guy that starts and like a
plays for
Robin,
the same
like
team?
a Robin Yount or
Derek Jeter
or Cal Ripken Jr.
Cal Ripken,
Chipper Jones played for the Braves all his career.
That is correct.
You're one of those guys, Bernie. Like that's a whole nother level of royalty. A guy that was a lifer, so to speak.
Yeah, it's a great sign of pride, and you over the course of your career, you get to. This opportunity to become a free agent. So there's always an opportunity in your life to make that decision whether I'm going to stay here or whether I'm going to change teams. And I decided to stay as a Yankee through my whole career.
But for the early, wasn't Steinbrenner trying to ship you out a couple, like your first couple? I read something years ago where like Steinbrenner called the GM up and said, ship him out of here. And the GM, I think they were going to trade you for somebody on the Expos.
Yeah. I think it was Larry Walker, perhaps.
Yeah,
it was.
And the GM kind of like held off, and then you had a great year.
My God, you have a lot of people in the organization lying to keep me on the team.
So George wanted you gone a few times. Didn't he?
Yeah. The organization was notorious for people having short patience with the young players.
Right.
They needed to produce right away, and
especially George.
Oh yeah, he was very impatient with his players, but we had people in the organization that believed in my ability, and that's all you need to have at some time.
So you had a couple of Bernie Williams to talk George off the ledge a few times,
right? They said, well, we're trying to trade him, but nobody wants him. We're stuck with him. So
damn it!
They allowed me to play through my struggles through the whole time, and gave me an opportunity to establish myself as a Major League Baseball player, and I have a lot to thank for it.
How many years did you play for Yankees?
16 years.
16 years. Wow, you got one hell of a pension. Imagine the pension Bernie's got. Bernie, I Googled you.
I can only get collected
I Googled what your personal worth is, Bernie. What in the hell are you doing getting up this early in the morning when you're worth what they say you're worth, Bernie?
It is a great cause, and it's something that is really, really close to my heart, so I think it's worth it for me.
Let's talk about what you're doing tonight. He's promoting his Breathless campaign, which is aimed at driving awareness to this particular disease. I think your grandfather. Was it your grandfather?
It was my father.
Your father, okay.
That passed away from idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, or IPF. And it was a devastating disease that took his life away in 2001. And, he was misdiagnosed for 5 years until he got the right diagnosis, because all the symptoms of IPF are very common to other respiratory illnesses like asthma and COPD and bronchitis and things like that.
They probably, I don't know, this is your world, but it seems like when I watch TV and things that they now have some medications that are dedicated for this. Back when your dad, I don't know if they had that technology when we were when your dad was.
Yes, that is correct. They did not have a lot of the advanced technology that they have now. We're working with Boehringer Ingelheim. In this campaign, it's called Breathless, and it's basically geared to educate people about this condition and all the options that patients with this conditions may have, to extend their life, because unfortunately this is a devastating terminal disease. I mean,
now, is there a way to test for it, though? Is there a way to test for it now?
Yes, there is. And one of the main purposes of this campaign is to encourage people to go to their doctor and get tested. They have to be referred to a pulmonologist, a lung specialist, so they can make the determination to know if you have IPF.
Man, Bernie, you're really a good dad. I mean, good kid. Your dad, obviously succumbed to this, and then you go out and you could be a guy that's just playing, kick-ass little jazz music and being Bernie Mother effing Williams from back in the day and just living large like David Wells and David Cohn are.
Hey, they're having the time of their lives. They actually went to the concert.
I heard they were both there last night.
Yeah, they were great.
Oh, my God.
You got Reggie Jackson taking over the stage.
Was he there last night?
He was there. Tino Martinez was there, too.
Now, how many of them are living here now, or they're just in town for the Yankees still?
We have a combination of all. I know Tino lives in town.
Tino lives here.
I know all the other people, they just come back and forth. They may have places here because spring training is here every year. They know that they have to come here every time.
Who made more money, David Wells or David Cohn?
I have no idea.
I'm just asking. I mean,
I don't know. Whoever played the longest, I think, probably had the chance to make the most money.
I remember when Wellesley threw his perfect game. You were. Did you play that game?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it was down to the wire too. And I think was it you or the right fielder guy that really had it was like the 8th or the 7th, and a guy put a rope out there, and you guys, I don't know if it was you or the right fielder.
Yeah, I did. There was a lot of good plays made for that game. I think Dave bought everybody a watch after that.
It's not he didn't buy everybody a plane. You know how Wellesley is. He doesn't care.
Oh, man.
Wells is just like me. He's just white trash. That's all he is.
He was awesome. He was a great teammate.
We love Wells. We love Wells.
Man, he's great.
He's a character. Now, how many perfect games as a player did you play in? You were at Cones.
I played in 2 perfect games, and I played in 1 no-hitter.
Was that Jim Abbott?
Jim Abbott. Yeah, back in the early 90s.
Now, how many put you down 4 or 5 times? How many times were you part of a guy's perfect game?
I will have to look.
You don't know that stat,
Bernie. No, I don't think I want to know that one.
And Bernie, when a guy's pitching a perfect game against you, are all the boys in the locker room being like, man, I mean in the dugout, man, can one of you guys get a hit?
Oh,
man,
yeah.
we're not going to let a guy hang this game on it.
We'll try to get in his head.
Even you're making the fastest guy even try to get a drag bunt or something.
Yeah, I was going to say that. You try to get in his head. Try to get him to lose.
I never drag bunt very much. In fact, Bernie, let me tell you, I was a third baseman in like the pony leagues. Before like. 12 and 13.
They probably had the shift on you, though.
Yeah, well, shut up, Bernie. Here's what they did to me. Okay, so I'm like a Bubba Say over there, but not, I got less range than Ron Say does. But I'm pretty good at third. I got a pretty good arm over to first. But so we're coming out where our team's pretty good, and this team goes up and they starts drag bunting on me.
Oh,
the first 4 guys drag bunting on me, and I'm a little heavier.
They're making you make that
I'm Bubba
play.
Lisinski over there, whatever the guy is. And my coach, Mr. Long, came over and said, "Listen, man, you're gonna have to." I was a catcher too. You're gonna have to catch this game because they're just gonna drag bunt to hell.
Yeah. It trickles into the big leagues, man. They will challenge you to do something.
Did you see where they're trying to make the shift illegal? Did you see that's actually?
Yeah.
Now, what do you think about that?
I don't know. I don't think it should be illegal.
I think it's brilliant. Didn't Madden come up with? Didn't he was the kind of first guy to bring that in?
Yeah, a little bit. I think, and it has certainly put a good twist into playing defense in the games.
It's got them so tore up. They're trying to change the rules on the deal. That's how good it is.
That's true. You get into situations and pitchers are instructed to pitch hitters a certain way so they can hit into the shift.
It is so specialized now, isn't it, Bernie?
It is very specialized.
Even when you were playing, you probably had a video of the guy you're pitching on.
Absolutely,
his tendencies, what he likes. You were switch though, weren't you?
Yeah, switch hitter.
Which did you prefer, right or left?
Well, I was a natural right-handed hitter, although because of the fact that I had to hit so many more times from the left side in the big leagues.
They needed a lefty.
Yes.
That's what made you so valuable.
And I became a better, also probably equal left-handed and right-handed hitting.
But, Bernie, you never see that. It's like almost a lost. Yeah. I can't tell. Can you tell me of right now the big, like the Bryce Harpers, like the big ones, the upper? I don't know that any of them are switch anymore.
Chipper was the last great switch hitter, I think.
There used to be a lot of really good switch hitters, tons of them.
I mean, and Bernie coming up as a switch hitter, you're that much more valuable because they can't pitch around you.
Yeah, it did great things for my career. I started actually switch hitting on my 2nd year in professional baseball. I was in the minor leagues, and I asked.
How tough is it to teach yourself to go the other? The hand over. It just feels so awkward to go the other way.
I had a hard time, man. But I made it a challenge. I said I'm either going to make it or break it as a switch hitter, and I never really saw the possibility of failing.
At Yankee Stadium, did you like left because it had that little porch over there? Could you get one out on left?
No, I wasn't really looking to hit home runs. Throw me inside, I would pull it, try to pull it down the line.
Right.
But, you got to, my game was to try to hit the ball where it was
Just
pitched.
make contact.
Yeah, make contact and hit it hard where it was pitched.
He was the one pitcher, Bernie, over your career that you're like, oh, God. Was it Clemens? Was it like, not that he owned you, but you're like, okay, man, this is a whole nother level versus stuff.
I am going to say Pedro Martinez.
Really?
Yeah. To me, that was my nemesis. He was probably the hardest pitcher that I ever had to. A starter. We're talking about relievers. You kind of see them, once in a while. But starters, you get 2 or 3 at-bats during the course of one game. Pedro was the best.
But on the other hand, who was that big name that you kind of owned a little bit? Like you're like, man, that guy ain't like, man, I'm 3 for 4 on this guy.
Yeah, man, I will have to say Jamie Moyer.
Oh, really?
yeah.
The guy from the was he Phillies?
Yeah, no. Well, he was
played
Phillies for a
Seattle.
while, but
Yeah.
he played Seattle for a
So
long
you're
time.
like, what's all this nonsense about? I'll take this break. I mean,
I would try to pay him for his plane ticket, cab ride to the
Man, start during
stadium,
my
try to
game.
make him sure that he was there.
But I gotta ask, how did you step up in the postseason? Like, it just seems like you went to a different level in the postseason whenever you were playing.
that's when he got paid. That's when Bernie's.
But I mean, you had some big clutch home runs. Like, it seems like you stepped up in the playoffs.
It was a great time. I think it was
You
a
mean
product
Jamie
of my.
Moyer?
Well, yeah, I faced him a few times when he was in Seattle. We played them at the playoffs. Aaron Seeley as well. But it was just, right place at the right time. Getting to a good streak. Going into the playoffs and just trying to get it to carry over. You did a lot of exercise and a lot of research. Trying to get the best put myself in the best opportunity to be successful.
What was Clemens like?
He was
just
tough.
like a hard ass, wasn't he?
He was tough to face, but he was probably one of the best teammates that we ever had as a Yankee.
Right.
And he
right.
retired.
But I'm talking about like going against Raj. 'Cause I know
no,
you had
no,
to.
no, man.
When
Yeah.
he was a Red Sox too.
Yeah, he beat me one time, man, in the Red Sox. Hit me right in my.
Did you charge him?
No, I wouldn't charge that, man.
Because he's a big, thick Nick.
First or second year as a Yankee, I got a base hit off of him the first time. The second time, I was wearing one in my thigh, man.
So you're
Next
like,
to
man,
that.
you just get one hit off this monster and he's gonna hit you.
Yeah, man. He was old school. One of the toughest competitors that I've ever played with or against.
How? This is the dumbest question ever, so don't get mad at me. How bad does when you get one going 95, 96 on you, and you it probably matters where it hits you, but does it just? Oh, how bad is it, Bernie?
It stinks, man.
Where's the worst place you ever got hit?
Head. I got punked in the head one time in Chicago.
You got a helmet?
Yes, I did. I did got a helmet.
But did it absolutely just completely ring your bell? I mean,
yeah, but when you get hit, you kind of get mad. This is, you got to actually protect against getting mad because you get mad and then you get out of control. Then you start, kind of doing a lot of things with not really in control of your game.
Right.
But it's never. I mean, sometimes you need to get hit to wake your rear end up and then start to get going.
But Bernie, how much has and you may not even be able to talk about this because I think it's an unwritten rule. Like I don't know that there's still some old school I think left in baseball, but is there a signal that coach let's say Wells is out there and they just hit Derek for whatever reason, and Wells is out there or whoever is it just the pitcher's call that he's like, that's my guy, it's old school, or does it come in? Does the call get blown in?
It's an unwritten rule, exactly like you said. And the game back in the day had a way of policing itself.
Right.
Umpires didn't really need to get involved. The front office or whoever was in charge of fines, they never really needed to get involved because back in the day, people expected to get hit,
right?
And they, you got guys like Bob Gibson. You took a strong, really, good swing at him, and the next ball was on you.
Yeah, so it's like if you did your job as a hitter, right? You did your job as a hitter. Bob's like, no way, no, I'm gonna.
This is my time.
But it's hard. I'm supposed to be able to hit the ball, Bob.
Yeah, man. But players nowadays, and the organization and baseball itself, they're trying to make the game a little safer. I think players nowadays are a lot more sensitive and take that part of the game very personal.
I don't even know that the players in today's environment could play in the old school, where things kind of took care of each other, and the captain kind of did it.
A lot of them could not.
They kind of baseball's kind of snowflaked a little bit, you should be able to come in cleats up and have a collision at the home plate.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking.
It wasn't, it wasn't more of a contact sport back then, but now, trying to make the game safer.
Remember when Pete Rose used to come barreling in like he was Dick Butkus?
He put a guy, I think it was Ron Hassey or one like that, out of commission. He was never the same player after that. That collision.
Was that in an All-Star game?
Yeah, he was in an All-Star game. Yeah.
All-Star game would be like, settle down, buddy. We don't want to get hurt.
This game doesn't even count, man.
Now, Bernie, when you get plunked. By the way, Bernie Williams, I could talk baseball with you all day. Bernie Williams, former Yankee, he'll be at George Steinbrenner Field tonight. It's to promote the awareness of his campaign. It's the Breathless Campaign, which is about IPF and the awareness. You can go to breathlessipf.com. Bernie, I was talking about earlier. What a great kid. His dad got to see him, grow up and make it to the big leagues, and then God bless his soul, to carry on kind of an awareness as to what he died from. You're a good guy, Bernie.
And he's a jazz musician.
And let's not forget that he's like the Black Kenny G almost. You're the Puerto Rican Kenny G.
Kenny has worked hard to get where he's at, man. I'm trying to get there too.
I don't think Kenny is a guitarist though. He's more of the saxophonist.
No, he
right?
has a soprano sax. That's
right.
his main instrument. Yeah.
Now, is there a guy that we don't even know about in the jazz world that does like not only the sax, but then he can play a Bernie Williams type guitar? Like, is there anybody that kind of deal?
Yeah, I mean, there's such a great group of talented musicians that are in the forefront of music right now. If you talk about any genre, there's always a guy that is going to be right there. Back in the day, we were talking about Eric Clapton and Buddy Guy and B.B. King. And
I have a B.B. King signed Lucille.
I saw all your guitars over there.
Oh, no, but
room,
I got a B.B. King signed Lucille.
Ooh,
yeah,
man.
I saw it was going for $20,000 on eBay, but I'm selling it. I swear to God, I am.
You got to save that, man.
So, Bernie, when we're talking about getting picked, like a pitcher hits you, there has to be times that pitches get away from a guy, and he really didn't mean to hit you. Like it got away from him and it wasn't, he wasn't trying to. But like, you never see the pitcher, like, let's say I hit you, you don't ever see me go, I don't ever do that. Like, sorry, Bern, just give you a little tip. My bad. Or if I meant it, I'd be like, yeah, I got, like, they don't do that.
I'll tell you, this is the worst thing that you can do actually when you get hit. You call timeout, you pick up the ball, you take a look at it, and you say that this ball is not good, and then just go walk into first base.
Now, so is that kind of the code? If one gets away from a guy, does a pitcher maybe kind of look at the ball like I got away from him, and he's telling his fellow, player association guy, because you guys are all one at the end of the day. I'm sorry about that. Is that his way of doing that?
No, man. I'm talking about the hitter. The hitter picks the ball up.
Yeah. Oh, I was talking about the pitcher being a nice guy.
The hitter picks the ball up and say, hey, you have nothing to hurt me, man. Watch the ball. This is not good. And they just walk into first base.
I think you just take the ball and smash it against your face and give you another, like, yeah! And then call yourself, that would be really cool, wouldn't it?
No, man, that would be really cool, too. But
remember some of the characters when we were growing up? Like, remember the guy that would talk to the bird? I mean, I'm sorry.
Mark Fidrich.
Mark
Fidrich, yeah. They call him the bird.
He was a complete maniac, and he'd talk to the bird and get himself all psyched.
Al Raboski.
The Mad Hungarian. Remember, he'd just get mad as hell?
Yeah.
We don't have, there's not too much of that anymore.
It takes all kinds, man, to make it in this game.
So it's not a wonder, though, Manson. How much of a gentleman would you be if you're like a Roger Clemens? Or like, a Pedro Martinez or something like that. Like, nobody questions your ability. You're you're Hall of Famer. But when one gets away from you, you tell the guy.
Man.
That would make you like, now all the women would love you. Like, you're a good guy. I mean, like, what a great marketing campaign, right? But you have to have the swagger in order to be able to do that, because the next guy might go yard on you.
Yeah.
And now you look stupid.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. I mean, it is one part of the game that people tend to appreciate more than other games, is that this game could humble you. You have to stay humble in this game, and you make sure you stay within yourself and not put too much attention, the things that you do, and not get too high, when things are going great, because the game has a way of biting you right in the rear end. Next thing you know, you're in a slump, 0 for 20, 0 for 30, not being able to get anything going. And that's a bad thing. But you keep yourself humble and keep doing the things that you are supposed to do to make yourself a good player in this game. And more times than not, you'll be successful.
Bernie Williams sold out Ruth Eckerd Hall last night. His boys were there. Ex-Yankee. She said Reggie stole the show. Did Reggie grab the bass?
Reggie took over the stage, man.
Reggie's like 100 and that. He's still got all the swagger in the world. I'm just telling you.
He's a rock star, man.
Remember Reggie would go like 118, or I'm sorry, Reggie would go like 192 or something like that. And then October would come around and he'd bat 650 and win the whole damn thing.
Oh, yeah, man. No doubt, man. He's such part of Yankee royalty.
Mr. October.
What did he do? Did he go on stage last night and play with you?
No, he didn't play. We had a little bit of a Q&A, and I don't know if you know Susan Waltman, the voice of the broadcasting voice of the Yankees. He was conducting this Q&A Reggie just stood up. They gave him a mic, and he just started, talking a little bit about his experience, being a Yankee and talking about.
Who were the Yankees? You, Wells,
Coney, and Tino Martinez, and Willie Randolph was there too,
and Reggie.
See,
I don't mean to talk bad about any of you guys, but you guys ain't got a chance with Reggie. He's going to drop the mic on you, young guns. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Absolutely, man. He did. He did. He was great.
Remember when he played with the A's, and the A's had the most outlandish outfits ever?
Uniforms.
Oh, yeah.
Bernie Williams in the studio today. He's throwing the first pitch out at Steinbrenner Field tonight. Yankees, spring training game. Who they play tonight, Bernie? You don't even know.
I have no idea.
I gotta ask you.
Bernie got real Puerto Rican right there. He's like, man, I ain't got no idea.
I didn't know who we were playing when I was actually playing. I didn't even know who we were playing.
Do you still get nervous throwing out the first pitch since so many people are looking at you and you're supposed to be able to nail it?
That bitch will throw it in their 80.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying you're supposed to be able to hit that throw.
Yeah, right nowadays it's probably a lot easier for me to play the anthem that would be to pitch that. It was like whatever you do, make sure you don't bounce it.
If you went out and took BP tomorrow, I'm talking about just coach thrown BP, how many dingers would you have out of 10 if you're warmed up?
Oh, if I'm warmed up?
Prevailing winds.
I'll have probably enough juice to get maybe 2 or 3 out.
2 or 3 out.
Yeah, a couple of foul balls, and then just kind of juice a couple of ones.
Now, don't the coaches throw BP?
Yeah, you have coaches, and we have personnel that is dedicated to to throw batting practice.
How hard is it to pick up? Because when we look at BP, it looks like they're just lobbing them in there from short distance. But is it hard to? Is it tough to pick up on BP?
Not as tough. The ball doesn't come as fast. Everybody knows what's coming, and it's going to be a fastball right there, at least a straight ball. And it's just basically trying to get your timing. You're trying to get more of a sense of where you are in this particular game. Getting ready for it. And batting practice is just one of the things that you do. You get soft toss. You get your workout on the cage, and that's one of the things that you have to do to get ready for the game. So you can have a great batting practice, but you got to save some for the game.
Where was what, Bernie? Don't lie, okay? You're kind of a politician. We haven't asked any hard questions. This is going to be one.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that.
But you have to answer this one. Is Tropicana Field a dump, like everybody says? Everybody's like, oh, it's a dump. Like, what's the consensus of a guy who played there? Visited there, I don't know, 100 times.
I have to tell you, I love playing at the Tropicana Field, and you can actually look it up.
He's not even running for mayor of St. Pete or trying to sell out tickets.
I looked it up. You try to look it up. What's my lifetime average at Tropicana Field is, and you will have my answer there. I think I hit like 374 lifetime there. And it was one of my favorite places to play. So
on the contrary, where did you hate to play? Oakland?
Oakland was tough. Oakland had
so big, isn't it?
Big sky. Fans were very, very passionate about their team.
Bernie say they're numbnuts. He hates them. He say Oakland guy were rude.
Oh man, it was a tough place. I mean, every other place, the Yankees were on the road. You got a lot of support from people following the team, but we had a lot of Yankee haters out there too.
Well, I know, but a lot of times you guys would outdraw the Expos or somebody like that when you guys were doing that.
Yeah, that is true, man. We would go to that's right. We go to Olympic Stadium in Montreal, and we got more Yankee fans than Expo fans.
Did you ever play Wrigley?
I did not play Wrigley Field.
Before Interleague?
Yes. Interleague. No. I was always hurt. The opportunity never really came to me. No, man. I would have loved to play it.
How about the old? This is one of the first places I saw in one of my first ball games. The old Milwaukee County Stadium, the old one.
Oh, I played there many times.
Yeah. What was your favorite city to visit? To play in, because some cities you're like, we're in.
Believe it or not, I enjoyed playing in Boston. I enjoyed playing. Everything.
Yeah, but it had to be rough with the fans, right?
It was rough,
but
it was
the worst.
You had the opportunity to whatever they say. You either let it get in your head, or use it as fuel, to motivate you to, shut their mouths, and have a good game. And more times than not, that's what I did, man. I just try to use it as fuel, to motivate and make me play a better game.
Was that rivalry that heated, though, like as people say it is? Between the Yankees and the Red Sox?
Were they messing with you in your hotel room and stuff like that? And turning the heat up in the locker room?
No, man. There was, talks about that, but that never really happened. I think for me, it depends on what year you're talking about, because when I was a young player in 91, 92, the rivalry was in a different place than it was, when we'd lost.
When they became better.
Now
it became better.
Now you were part of the team that was up 3-0 on the Red Sox, correct?
Yeah. Do you have to bring that up now?
Hey, Bernie, we just added this guy to be kind of.
No, I'm just saying. No, I mean that had to
Bernie
have been.
just said, "I'm going to whip your ass." What the hell? Everything was
no,
going
I mean
so
for
good.
that to happen. I mean, it was. I don't know.
It was tough, man.
It was horrible. What do you think Bernie's going to say? Oh, yeah, Tuttle, that was great. I really enjoyed that.
It was one of the toughest things that I've ever had to face. That and losing to the Diamondbacks, and with 2 outs.
And that hit.
In that 2001 World Series.
Yeah.
Cost you a ring, buddy.
Getting beat by a freaking
blooper.
It was a blooper. It was.
It was.
Oh, that stayed with me for a long time.
What was it like to see Randy Johnson, that monster? I mean, what was? I mean,
you were a switch hitter.
I did not have. I had a fair success about facing Randy Johnson.
But if you're sitting there, buddy, I mean, he's what, 6'8"?
Oh, yeah.
And the mound's already 1,000 feet
and
up there.
And his wingspan is like an albatross, man. He throws the ball, and it seems like his hand is like right in your face when he throws the ball.
White trash, greasy mustache. Looked like he just got out of the bar in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
He was intimidated, man. He get that ball out there in 95, 100 miles an hour.
And literally, like, you can shake his hand after his delivery.
Exactly.
Like, it's right there.
Exactly.
What was out of the Red Sox? Were you ever friendly? Like in the off season, like almost like who was your favorite Red Sox?
Most of the people there, when we had the rivalry, it was great. I mean, Pedro was very instrumental in the fact that he was a great competitor on the field. But then off the field, he was just the nicest guy. He was just, he left it all out there. And then once the game was over, it was just, turn the page.
Pedro, you're saying Pedro could bean you in the ninth, but he'll go out and buy you the beer the next night after.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I mean, everything was, it's fair game, in the course of the game and the heat of the moment, heat of the, passionate. You can do whatever you want, but then after the game, it was just, like business as usual.
Bernie Williams in the studio. Don't forget, Bernie will be at George Steinbrenner Field for the game tonight, throwing his first pitch. Now, are you doing the national anthem on the guitar too?
I am doing the national anthem as well.
You didn't know, because we were going to try to have you play, but you didn't know we got a full-blown, out of all the radio stations you've done, we're probably the only one that has our own stage deal there.
Oh, man.
We could have plugged you right in, Bern.
Hey, man. More power to me. I gotta perform do a good job with the anthem, but looking forward to it and looking forward to the opportunity and to raise awareness for this great cause. breathlessipf.com is the website. And encouraging people to go there and find out about more about IPF.
Last question for Bernie. Out of all the teammates you had for the Yankees that played with you, who was the one guy, like one of the things we have to ask, like who's the toughest guy in the locker room? Like, may not have been the best player, may not have been the most popular, but just the grizzled old veteran that you just didn't want to piss off because he could realistically, at the end of the day, whip your ass physically. Like, who was that guy?
Yeah, man, we had a lot of people like that, in my tenure there.
The toughest dude.
Toughest dude, I would say. I mean, define. I mean,
if there's one guy you don't want to
define tough.
If there's one guy in the locker room that you don't want to fight physically and get mad,
I would have to say Darryl Strawberry when he was with us.
Oh, old Tampa boy.
Yeah, man, he was tough, man, and he was out there. He was the first guy out there in every fight that we had. He was the first guy out there trying to kick some booty, man.
Old Darryl Strawberry, huh?
That's right.
How's he doing nowadays?
He's doing great. He's definitely being of an impact to a lot of young people in the forefront of this opioid addiction fight, in this nation, and he's doing a great job.
I'm glad to see that he's doing better. And I think it's his ex-wife now, but remember Tuttle, she was on Bay News 9. Oh, she was hot. Cherie or something. I'm not even trying to start no problems there, but God, she was beautiful. Bernie Williams tonight. You can always go to Bernie's Breathless Campaign, which is breathlessipf.com. Bernie, how about musically? If people want to start, look into some of your jazz stuff, where would they go?
Yeah, man, it's all over the place. We got a lot of.
You got a YouTube channel?
I do have all the other outlets. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I think we have music in Amazon.com and iTunes.
Just under Bernie Williams.
Just under Bernie Williams. I got 2 CDs out. One was nominated for a Latin Grammy about 10 years ago.
Are you the guy? Are you the only human being to ever win a World Series and also be a Grammy nominee?
I do not know, but I would venture to say probably
and
yes.
was a switch hitter. I'm just saying. Might want to throw that part in there, too.
Yeah,
Bernie, do you think you'll make the Hall of Fame?
I do not know, man.
You got the stats, almost career 300.
It would be a great honor, and I would never be downplay that. But I mean, I really tend not to worry about things that I have no control over.
But
I mean, it will be a great honor.
How do you feel about the people though that were involved in the steroid era and stuff being able to get into the Hall of Fame? Do you think Bonds, McGuire, any of those guys will get in?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think eventually, if
they better
you
put
have
Pete Rose in then too.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if they have a change of mind within the writers community, I think there might be an opportunity for them.
I think as the writers maybe get younger and some of these old timers leave, we might be able to get
That's exactly right. We get a lot of the new blood that may not be as concerned as some of these old writers were about the effect that the steroids and that whole thing had on baseball. It might be a little bit of a change of mind. I mean,
I think there should be no rules. You can just juice all you want and get as big as you want. I want to see a guy hit 100 homers.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of
I want a pitcher to throw at 150. And I want to see a guy hit 300 homers.
But a lot of that controversy and a lot of that situation, came down to have. Something of sort of a control, because a lot of our young kids were juicing up, and a lot of these kids were dying because
and the long-term effects.
Yeah, and the long-term effects were devastating. So we had to do something about that, and I'm glad that the steps have been taken towards trying to control that.
Bernie, we really appreciate you coming in, man. You're big time, and I can't thank you enough for coming in and promoting your Breathless IPF deal and talking about your music. And sorry if we haven't had a lot. Well, let me try about Yankees. We've had David Wells and we've had Cone over the years. And was Curtis Granderson was a Yankee, wasn't he?
Yeah, he
for
was.
years.
Yeah.
Bernie, do you know Curtis?
I know him.
He is almost as nice as you are.
He is great. He's great. Well spoken, very smart. Human being has been. I mean, he probably can do anything that he sets his mind to do.
Do you think you can introduce us to Jeter one of these days? Tell him we're pretty cool. He might want to do an interview with us. Maybe will you put a good word in for us, Bernie?
I would put a good word.
Because sometimes our reputation's like, oh, Bubba the Love Sponge. He did this and he did that. But I hope that we were cool.
I was a little worried coming
Sorry
into
about
the
that
stage.
guy to your right that I tried to ask you about when you guys are down 3-0. I'm sorry. That wasn't even my question, Bernie.
I was a little concerned coming into the studio, not knowing what to expect. But you've been great, man. Thank you so much for the opportunity and the audience to listen to what I had to say about the Breathless Campaign and being really nice to me, man. I really appreciate that.
Two things, Bern. One, when you got new stuff that comes out, we'd love to have you on, even via phone. And then two, as you're doing more stuff with your breathless stuff, when you're here or you want to promote it or what have you, please call us up, even if it's via cellular, so we can help you out, buddy.
Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that.
Bernie Williams, go to breathlessipf.com, throwing the first pitch and doing the national anthem tonight at Steinbrenner Field.